Metal ions in biological systems, functions of elements and their action. In this lecture, we will discuss some functions of elements on the basis of their action. There are several metal ions which are involved in the different storage and metabolic reactions in the biological systems. So, we will discuss some important metals here which are used in the biological processes. So, metal ions which are used in the storage and transport of the oxygen or any other material which are used in the storage and transportation of these. Yes. We will normally see the oxygen as carrier. The metal ions which are stored in some proteins. The first is celluloplasmin. We will discuss, we will well known these proteins by the name blue proteins, blue copper binding proteins, which exerts a catalytic activity named celluloperoxidase, which is present in the plasma, and it converts iron 2 into iron third state. Second is transferrin. Iron released from the mucosal cell centers the portal blood mostly in Fe2 state 2, and Fe2 state is oxidized to Fe third state and then picked up by the iron binding protein transferrin. And this protein is a glycoprotein of MW77000, possessing two similar but not identical sites that bind two atoms of iron third per molecule of protein to form a red ferric protein complexes. These proteins, they may be present in the different biological systems. And B category is the oxygen binding metallo-biomolecules. These biomolecules only used as oxygen carriers in different biological systems. As we know, there are different types of oxygen carrier metallo-biomolecules, that is hemoerythrin, hemoglobin, myoglobin, and hemocyanin. These are the important metallo-biomolecules used as oxygen carrier. First is hemoerythrin. It is a non-heme oxygen binding iron proteins. Non-heme means hemoglobin heme protein is not present in this biomolecule, and these protein employed in great variety of marine worms and phyla. It means the marine invertebrates. In marine invertebrate, hemoerythrin is present as oxygen carrier. Iron second binds oxygen reversibly, and when oxidized to iron third as methemoerythrin, shows no tendency of bind oxygen. It means only one hemoerythrin which is used for the binding of oxygen, and iron third is not used for the binding of oxygen in hemoerythrin. Second is important proteins, biomolecules which are used in the human body for the carrier of oxygen molecules, that is hemoglobin and myoglobin. Myoglobin is present in plasma and hemoglobin is also present in as blood cells in form of proteins. As we know, hemo and globin, two proteins are present, and myoglobin, it may be composed of two types of protein, that is myelin and globulin. And it functions as oxygen transport and storage, and it provides the iron porphyrin, which is provided by the iron porphyrin complexes, hemoglobin and myoglobin. The iron in Hb, in short form hemoglobin, short form of hemoglobin is Hb, and Mb is the short form of the myoglobin. And it in these two proteins, iron is present in +2 oxidation state, Fe +2 state. Oxygen molecule coordinates to Fe2 from 1 and 2 of heme, and globin protects the Fe2 to be oxidized into Fe third state by creating a hydrophobic environment. It means that the globin protein create a hydrophobic environment so that the water molecule could not reach the active site of heme protein. So these globin proteins protects the iron to react with oxygen of water molecule. Third is hemocyanin. It possesses copper and bind one molecule of oxygen for every pair of copper 1 ions. Oxidation state of the copper is 1. When oxygen binds to hemocyanin, its color is blue, otherwise unbound hemocyanin is colorless. So when the complex is formed, the blue color of copper appears. They are found only in mollusks and arthropods, crustacea or archids. And some metal ions which we will discuss here, and these metal ions used as electron carriers. As we know, several biological processes involves some metabolic reactions, and these reactions can be explained on the basis of electron transfer processes. So there are several electron transfer processes are involved in several different types of biological reactions which are going in the human body or any other animal or biological body. It may be plants, it may be any other animals and human also. So different kinds of biological systems have different types of electron carriers we will discuss here. First is iron sulfur proteins. Many non-heme iron sulfur proteins takes part in the electron transfer made up of peptide chains having 16 chain of amino acids, 16 where 16 sulfur is bounded to iron or cluster of iron sulfur atoms. we we write this in short form Fe dash sulfur. There are several types of iron sulfur proteins. These present in form of clusters. Some important iron sulfur proteins are ferredoxins, and different types of iron sulfur cluster proteins we will discuss later on. These iron sulfur proteins acts as electron acceptors, and it we will study in the photosynthesis how the electron carries from one reaction to other reaction or one molecule to the other molecule to generate to occur these metabolic reactions which are going on different biological systems. As we discussed in previous classes, the electron processes in the photosynthesis in plants. Second is blue copper proteins. This is an electron carrier in the photosynthesis and primarily present in the algae, green leaves and other plants. The different forms of the blue copper proteins are azurin, plastocyanin, stellocyanin and eumacyanin. Third is cytochromes, heme proteins which behave as electron carrier and take part in the photosynthesis. In the photosynthesis processes, the cytochromes are very useful for the electron carrier. It contains a porphyrin ring chelated to iron atoms. Cytochromes are found in all aerobic forms of life. Fe2 or Fe3 acts as redox intermediate in the electron transfer reactions. There are several types of electron transfer reactions are going on in the plants, and they are present in chloroplast for the photosynthesis and mitochondria for the reverse process of respiration. So as we know, in the plant cell or an animal cell, mitochondria is the generation of power, storage of powerhouse. It is termed as the powerhouse of the cell. There are several types of known protein metal transport. It means they metal ions which do not contain proteins, but it is used as metal transport and the storage of metal. One is skeletal form of metals. As we know, in any animal body or human body, it consists of calcium. The skeletal is in form of calcium phosphate. Calcium occurs in large amount and than any other minerals present in any body. 99% of the calcium present in the skeletal where it is present and deposited as calcium phosphate in soft fibrous matrix or tissues. Second metal is phosphorus, which is present in every cell of the body, but most of it combined with calcium in form of calcium phosphate and it is present in bones and teeth. 10% of its combination with proteins and lipids, carbohydrates. And the phosphorus, as we know, it is present in ATP, ADP, AMP, and this phosphoester bond is is used in energy transfer processes. So these phosphate ester bonds is very useful for the energy transfer from one part of body to the other part of body when it is required. And third is silicon, integral component of acid mucopolysaccharide and have structural role in connective tissues. It means silicon is present in when two types of tissues are joining to each other, and this silicon is present in connective tissues as well as cartilage, skin and bone. Silicon is an essential element for growth and skeletal development. Fourth is sodium, major component of the cations and extracellular fluids which occurs as chloride and bicarbonate. The sodium ion is present in form of sodium chloride and sodium bicarbonate. It helps in regulating acid-base equilibrium. The role of this sodium ion is regulating the acid-base equilibrium and the maintenance of osmotic pressure in the body fluids. So next is lithium. Lithium present in extracellular and intracellular fluids in form of lithium carbonate or any other minerals. The lithium carbonate is also used for the treatment of manic depressive illness. Next is potassium ion. Potassium ion present in extracellular and intracellular fluids. It functions as sodium to influence acid-base equilibrium, osmotic pressure and water retention, metabolic functions including protein biosynthesis by ribosomes. These are the important or key functions of potassium ion. We will discuss the sodium potassium pump in next chapter. Next is zinc ion. It is essential for normal growth and reproduction, tissue repair and wound healing. And so many enzymatic reactions are there in which zinc ion is involved. Next is manganese, essential for normal bone structure, reproduction and functioning of central nervous system. So these are the important metal ions on the basis of their action and the storage and the usefulness in the biological systems. These are the introductory part we are discussing here, but in detail we will discuss in different chapters, and we will discuss the mechanism of these biological processes in which these metal ions are involved as electron carrier or skeleton form of skeletal or any different types of biological processes. Thank you.